Hello, everyone, and welcome to Member365 webinar on continuing education. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christine Bundy, and fun fact is I love questions. So if you have questions at any time during today's webinar, please put them in the Q&A. It's at the bottom of your screen, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. If I do see them as I'm talking, I will answer them as I go. Otherwise, there will be Q&A at the end. Please be assured that everyone has been muted and cameras are turned off except for mine. Also don't worry that these will be posted on our YouTube channel. So you will have access to them at any time during afterwards. So for today, what are we going to cover? So the first thing that we're going to go over is we're going to kind of have a little bit of an explanation of what continuing education is. We're going to go through the settings and setup. We're going to show you how to add it to the membership. And then we're going to show you how to add an activity, whether it's you as an administrator as well as a member, and then show you some reports. And then finally, we go through some best practices and questions. Again, I love questions, so don't hesitate. All questions are good questions. So if you're not understanding something, please ask. Okay, so first of all, what is continuing education? So continuing education is if you have a certification or designation that requires an allotted amount of hours or credits in order to earn or maintain that certification. So if you are a nurse and you need to earn so many hours or credits in order to maintain your nursing degree, then you have to have your collection period and be able to do those activities and be able to put them into a transcript of some kind in order to be certified. So that's what our system allows you to do, is we allow you to maintain or a way to collect the needed credits to maintain or earn that certification. So what other things we, so activities, I kind of mentioned this a little bit. What is an activity? So activities are, well, tasks that you complete in order to earn those credits or hours. And again, it really depends. Like some associations have the policies that you have to earn so many hours, and some is just it's credits depending on the activity that you're doing. We can handle both. But for activities, they could be anything along the lines of watching a video and taking a quiz, so doing an online course, or going to an in-person session or watching a webinar like you're watching today. That could technically earn you a credit for the duration that you are in that webinar, depending on your policies that you have. So activities could be a variety of different things that your organization has designated as a governing body. They also could be if you are not a governing body, but you are working on behalf of a governing body and offering credits or hours that go towards that. So that is something that is available within our system. And then finally, we have levels. So you have your activities, but how are those activities grouped? So levels allows you to group activities to allow you to do a maximum or minimum requirement of activities to be able to earn that certification. So you might do one whole for events, but then you want to break it down that I have to do 3 in-person events and I have to do at least 2 webinar events, or I have to do a total of just events. So you could break it down to different types of events for the different levels, or if you need to just say 4 events, I need to do 5 total. So that's what levels allows you to do. And I will show you how to do this once we get into the software, which is where we're going to head next. So when you log into your admin dashboard, this is what you're going to see. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up to do our settings first. So we're going to go up to modules and you're going to see continuing education. Now, if you do not see continuing education, that is because it has not been activated on your account. So this is a premium module. It does not come with your standard Member365 package. So we have 2 premium modules, continuing education and learning management. So if you want to know more or get access to those, please reach out to your account rep or somebody on the support team and we can provide you with more information. But they are not just your standard packaging. So if you're not seeing them, that's why. It also could be that you don't have permission. So make sure you talk to your admin manager to, if you is something that is activated in your system, that you go and get access to it if it's something that you're in charge of. So we're going to go to education. And we're going to go down to settings. And we're first going to do the activity configuration. So that's step one. And there's a whole bunch of rules that can be applied. So the first thing is that you really want to make sure that if you don't know, ask the board, or at least say, like, whenever you're setting up your CE when you're coming into this system, is to make sure that your CE works within the parameters of this system. So there's lots of different rules that you can set up, and you may need to have or adjust your current policies to allow them. But it is something to take into consideration, especially if you're starting with a new platform, is a mold to the platform, because then it's going to be a lot easier for you, and it's going to keep it really simple and straightforward to do that. So the first set of rules here, and I'll go through each of them, is can users submit activities in the member portal? So I, as a member, can actually go so you can actually go in to the member portal, and as a member, I can submit an existing activity that you have pre-approved. Or the next one is, can I submit a brand new one? So is there a brand new activity that I've completed, maybe from a third party, that I want to submit for approval, or submit that I've completed to have in my transcripts in the system? Do you want to allow them to do that? You don't have to, but there is that capability, so it's less work on your end. And then, do you want to allow them to remove activities? So, oops, I made a mistake. Can I simply just remove it, or do I have to ask an administrator to do that? Again, a lot of these things I like to allow members to do, because then it's taking a lot of work off my plate, and I can then just go through and update kind of as needed. You also can have approvals for new activities, not existing activities, because you've already pre-approved existing activities. So that means that anybody can say, oh, I did do that activity on this date, it's been approved. And then you can also have it so they can have a document, which I'll get to in a minute. But when you are approving activities, it's for a brand new submitted activity. That's this option. You can have an approval process for it. So I just want to make sure that that's clarified. Allow members to enter credit amounts. So can they enter the amount of the credits that is being submitted for the activity, or do you want to be able to just review it and enter it yourself? Again, I like to say, well, they should know, yeah, if it's a third party, that it's going to earn them so many credits, and if they don't, then they could put a number and you can kind of review and adjust, which is important to have the approval process. And then can they add the level? So what level is it going to exist in? Is it a webinar? Is it an in-person? Would they know what level that's associated with? Allowing members to assign credits out to multiple levels. This one is unique and not commonly used. I always recommend sticking one activity goes to one level group. Again, keep it as simple as possible. Dividing it up can sometimes get really complicated. There are needs for it, again, it's so we have that option. But if you have like one level or one activity, you should go into one level group, and that's just a recommendation on my end. And this report lists all memberships per user in one row. I don't like to do this. I like to, you can, so it's all together. I like to kind of, if you have different memberships with the different activities, you kind of want to be able to see those. So I like to keep those separate. Transcripts. So you do have the ability to have a transcript available for the members, so they can download it and have a copy of it. It's also easy for you to provide it to them, because it's already going to have all the activities that they have collected from beginning of time of being with you to not. So they can, you can allow that to appear in the CRM. And then also, do you want it to appear in the member portal so the member can just access it as needed? And again, it's It's just a list of all activities that they have completed in the database. So if they want, they can print that out and they can provide it as needed. Or if you are doing it for a governing body, they can present it to the governing body as activities completed. Do you want to show activities pending approval? So when a new activity is submitted, do you want it to show that it's in pending? I like to have this on so people know where it is. Otherwise, they submit it and it doesn't show up in the report of activities completed. So having it there pending is a really good idea. I like to do that. I also like to have it in the portal and CRM so people know, oh, okay, they did submit it, but it's under review and has not been approved yet. As I mentioned, you can have a document. So you can make it so that a document is mandatory when they submit an activity. You can also make it so when it's a new activity, or whether it's brand new or a pre-approved activity. I highly recommend this because then it's forcing them to be honest of like, yes, I did complete this and here's a certificate to go with it. Then we have make description mandatory. So this one I like to do if I have the new one on, so that you get a good understanding of what that activity is. And so you can then determine if you can approve it or not. Then down below, this is the fields that they need to fill out, or you need to fill out as an administrator. So again, you can change the label if you need to, credits, or you can say hours. So you can use either or. This will change the labels within the system to being one or the other. Then we select the field. So the ones I have here are the ones I recommend doing. So making sure your credits / hours, the contact email, so the person who is doing the activity, and phone number. So if they're doing it from a third party and submitting it, you want that information in case you have to get in contact with them. And then the start and end date of the activity. Now you can do other things. So how many hours it took to complete, notes, program name, school name, location, any of these you can't add if needed. However, these are kind of the ones that I recommend at a minimum that you collect. Once you get everything set up, make sure you hit update so it saves. We always like to save as we go. Okay, so then we're going to go back to education and we're going to go to settings. And we're going to go to levels. So levels is how you group those activities. Now I already have a few broken down here, like for quizzes, public speaking, webinar sessions, or for lectures. This is the different levels, and I'm going to go into this one to show you that. So groups is a next tier level. I only have one client that's actually using this. It's not a common, and so I would actually just ignore. If it's something that you are thinking about, please reach out to me and the team so that we can kind of talk through. But it's if you're going above and beyond levels, it's not something that is really necessary. 99% of people just need levels. So for the levels, you can set a minimum requirement. So they have to at least get two webinar sessions in order to be certified or recertified. You can do it based off of a percentage. I like to keep things simple numbers. They have to do 2, 1, however many it is instead of a percentage. Again, it's up to your policies and how you want to do that. There are some associations where it is a percentage of total activities. But again, that's up to you. And then you also can have a maximum. When you have a maximum number, so only 5 can get added to this, you can also set up what's called a carryover. And what a carryover is that it's going to say, okay, up to 20 can go over. So if I have 30 credits, 5 of them are going to go towards this collection period. 20 are going to go towards my next collection period, and then 5 are just going to disappear because they don't apply to either of those parameters. Now, if I have 15 credits for this collection period, I get 5 towards this. I get 5 towards this level, and then 15 go towards my next collection period. So I don't have to do any activities within this level because they're already completed. Now, if I remove the maximum and I still have a carryover, it'll carry over the difference. So if I have a max of, if I have 20 credits and, or sorry, if I have of 30 credits, but a max of 20 and I've collected 2 of them, 18 is going to go over. So there is a difference between the minimum and max. So just make sure that you're aware there is descriptions here and they do adjust kind of as your settings do. If you are uncertain, always ask. Again, I love questions. Don't hesitate to ask questions. So if you are looking to do maximums and minimums and carryovers and you're like, I don't know. Again, the R help text here to help you. But if you have a maximum, it is going to be, so again, if I do 20 activities as a max, and I do 20 activities for the collection period for this year, 15 get carried over because there's a max that stays here. If I did 30, then again, 5 would stay, 20 would go over, and 5 would just disappear. So if you have any doubts into how the max or mins work, just don't hesitate to ask. All right, once you are done setting up your levels, make sure you save. Again, save as you go. And then we're going to go back to continuing education and settings, and we're going to go through your email reminders. Now, you can also set up categories. This is just strictly for like internal purposes. We used to use categories instead of levels. Levels is the replace of categories. You could use both or just one. It's up to you. For reminders, the email reminders are set up, or you can set them up for the 3 different criteria. So there are default templates, so you can come in here and look at them. But it's if a credit card payment is required, if the credits requirement is complete. So you could set it up to be like, hey, you've completed all your hours or credits, you're good to go. Or you could say, hey, I have not completed your allotted credits or hours, and you have this many left to do. So there are standardized templates in each of these. You can set them to go out before or after the collection end date as needed. And there are tags within here that you can use. So you can update these kind of as needed as you go. Just make sure that you select the correct option for those settings. And then enable and make sure they're enabled to go out if there's something that you want to do. So I always like to make sure that there's at least a 30-day or 60-day reminder before the end of the collection period. Same as email renewal reminders for memberships. You have to remind somebody 9 times to complete a task that's outside their daily norm. So if somebody has not met their required credits, then you might want to remind them at least 9 times. And then once they have those credits, they're not going to get the reminders anymore. They're going to go over to like, oh, you've met your requirements. Good job. You can now renew your membership. Okay, so those are the settings for the continuing education. So now let's go over to the membership category and actually set it up in the category. So I'm going to go over to category setup under membership, and I'm going to go down to this individual membership that I've been playing with previously. And there, once it loads, we're going to go to continuing education tab, and we're going to make sure that it's enabled. There we go. So first thing you're going to do is make sure it's enabled. And then you're going to come down and you're going to start doing your credit specifications. So how many credits is required for them to earn their designation or certification? So for this one, we're going to keep it with 20. Then you're going to say how many days after the collection period can people have report their credits. So what that means is that even though it's after the collection period, I still need to report activities I did within that collection period. So if I have a 1-year collection period from January 1st to December 31st, if I completed an activity after that date, it wouldn't count. If I completed it before that date, it would go towards that collection period. So they do have to make sure that when you give them that 30 days, which is industry standard and recommended, because let's be honest, people forget to report things. They get busy. Life is busy. So giving them that 30 days to report activities they previously completed within the collection period is recommended. But you also want to make sure that they're actually completing the tasks within the period and not trying to use activities used after the period, because then the after ones will go towards the next collection period, not the one that's previously existed. So they can only collect or report activities completed in that collection period for that collection period, not after. Then we have a couple of new rules. So for those who have not seen these are new updates. Do you want to allow members to renew their membership while the collection period is active, even if they have not reached the minimum number of credits? So I always like to say, yes, it's active. Because this depends on your collection period. So if you have a 5-year collection period and you have only a 1-year term membership, you're going to want this on because they're not going to meet the requirements within the 1 year. So that's just something that you want to consider. So they're going to have an active collection period for 5 years, but not have the minimum required. And then if the collection period has expired, do you want to allow members to renew their membership after the collection period has expired and have not reached the minimum? This is typically you want no. Again, depends on your policies. Some policies say that their accreditation does not affect their membership, and then you want this to be yes. If it's no, that's if you do not reach the minimum, backwards. So if they do not reach the minimum, yes, or if it does not affect their renewals, then it's no. So again, if I earned all my credits and my collection period is expiring, do you want to allow them to be able to renew their membership? Yes or no? If they have insufficient credits and are trying to renew, you can put in your own wording. So this is another new update that we've just released. So you can change the language. This is the default language that is there, but you can update this kind of as needed if you like. Next, we're going to talk about assigning the levels. So you may have about 10 or 20 levels, but they only work with a specific membership or for a specific designation. So you can come in here and only check off the ones that apply for this membership category to be certified. So if you have 2 different programs kind of running at the same time, maybe you have a certified program and a recertified program, and they have to do different levels for different things, then this is the ability for you to select those options. The simple is just checking them on or off as you go, and all those settings that we've already done will be in effect. Then you want to set up your collection period. So you can hit create, and then you're going to get this. So I've already filled this out. And so you give it a name. It could be collection period, could be certification, anything that works. You just want to make sure that it's something that the people are going to understand. And then you're going to say when this collection period is going to apply. So I always say, you want to say after. The only time you would say before is if it's for a specific group before a certain date that they get that collection period versus a different collection period. So I always go to like whenever you like the first member that joined your organization that this is going to apply for. So if the first person joined in 1980, then you're definitely going to want to have 1980 and then after that time frame. I just kind of went to the extreme, but there are times when you have people in the 2 different collection periods. Maybe they have a 2-year because they were before a join date, or a 1 year if they're after a different join date. Again, keep it simple. If you can't get everybody into one collection period, it makes it a lot easier kind of going forward. Now, what type of collection period will this be? Biggest mistake I see is when you have an annual membership with an anniversary collection period. Whatever your membership cycle is, should align with what your collection period is. Keep it really simple, keep them together. It's highly recommended because doing them at different times can get confusing, especially for members, especially if their collection period ends later, but they haven't gotten all of their credits and they need those credits in order to renew their membership. So again, that's why it's really good to kind of keep them together. So if you're doing an anniversary membership, you want to do an anniversary collection period. If you're doing an annual membership, you want to do an annual collection period. And then you want to set the start date to being the same. Or if you're doing anniversary, you want it to be immediately when the anniversary starts. So it's consistent. So we're going to do annual for this one, and it's going to start January 1st, just like our membership. Rollover. So rollover is when you want credits that have not been collected being transferred to the next collection period. This is kind of a unique case. So what happens, like, let's say I have 30 credits. If I have 30 credits that I have to earn for my certification, but I've only collected 20 of those. The 10 remaining, instead of being designated as not used, you then can move them over to the next collection period. So instead of 30, I then have to earn 40 credits for my next collection period. So again, this is a unique policy. Not many associations use this, but it is a case where they need to roll over the credits not earned to the next collection period. So now they have to earn more. And then I always recommend that this one is turned on, making sure that if one collection period ends, the next one starts right away. So making sure that it auto starts the next collection period, so you're not having anyone in a limbo state. Then you want to designate how long that collection period is. I always recommend 1 year. You can do up to, like, it is common to see 3 or 5 year cycles. Again, if you're doing these, make sure that you have the settings under the specifications correct, that they can still, it doesn't, if they have an active collection period, that they can renew their membership. If it's over 1 year, that is not matching their the 1 year membership period that they have. Then you have your certificate. So you can add certificates within the certificate module and then add them here to be visible as needed. Make sure you then click create. And then we're going to go down and look at your certificate options. And so there are 4 different options. You could say, nope, they're never going to get a certificate always. When they've earned the required credits, they get it automatically. Or admin control. So this is where an administrator would click a button to release that certificate to an individual that has earned it. It is a manual process. So if you are going to use this one, you also want to first save, because we're going to change to a different tab. But you're also going to want to go up to your automated emails and automate the emails that are affected by that process. So in automated emails, sorry, just bear with me while this page saves, as it does just take a minute to go through everything that we just update. There we go. At the bottom here, you're going to see education emails. So these are the emails for the certificate. So whether you send the certificate, take it back because they hadn't, after you've done an audit, you realize they didn't earn the certificate, so you were sending it, or send out a reminder to be like, hey, you're not getting all the credits you need. Here's a reminder to get your certificate, what you need to do. So these are templates. You can review them and update them as needed. And I will show you in a few minutes where those are accessed. Again, make sure you update, turn them on or off as needed, and save your work. All right, so those are the settings and attaching it to a membership. So now how do we add an activity? So as an administrator, you can come up to modules, go to continuing education and go manage activities. You're going to see all activities that have previously been created. And you also can then simply just add a new activity. Again, it's going through all the criteria that we had previously discussed. So you're going to give it a name. This could be for a webinar. You are going to have a description as well. So you do have to put in the description. It attaches to myself because I'm making this activity. So it has to connect with someone. You then select the level that it's associated with, the number of credits they're going to earn, and then the membership category that it is applying to. So we had flat fee during, that was the one that we were playing with. And then adding the information kind of as needed. Oh, let's go the same date. There we go. Then you can designate if it's appearing, it does appear in the portal and on the transcript. You can make it so that it doesn't appear in that pre-approved list. It's just going to approve it for a specific individual. Then you're going to come down and hit approved. Now, if someone submits a ticket in the portal, there is an approval process. It's similar to what we just did here, but I will show you that in just a minute. So let's actually go to an individual in this collection period. So we have Betty over here. So Betty is in this collection period. She has this membership, and we're going to impersonate Betty. And here you're going to see continuing education. And this is what they will see on their end. So they'll see the different collection periods that they have. They'll see what the levels are, what the min and maximums are, how many they've accumulated to date, how many are eligible towards their credits, and then how many are outstanding. They also, because we've enabled it, they can see the transcript. So it is just a report to show you how the transcripts are. And also then they can add. So it's similar to what we just did. We can go and add a brand new one, or we can show these are existing ones that are pre-approved. So if I click on one of these, I can say, oh, I did this in-person activity. I completed it on this date, and then I have to upload my certificate. Now, for the purposes of today, I'm just going to do an image, but this is on an honor system. I will also show you kind of a workaround if you want to monitor those as well. So now it's in my activities, and it is already going towards my credits. Then I also have the ability to do new ones. So if I add a new one, so let's say that this is let's do a quiz, but it's for a third party. So quiz, again, you can make them do a description. They can select the level. They can say the date on the 7th. We can make them put in this type of information. How many credits do they earn? What is certification or documents that go with it? And then hit submit. When it's submitted, it's again going to show up here as pending. So they are like, okay, I did submit it. It wasn't a mistake. It's in there. And then as an administrator, you're going to get a notification on your dashboard over here for activities pending approval. So activities pending approval, these are new activities. You can simply look at the details here or view the document and approve it, or you can go in, review it here, determine if you want it to show up in either of these options, and then hit approve and save. And then this activity will be added to their collection period. Now, if you have existing, so we did do also an existing one, we have this other report called the mail out reports. So activities, pending mail out. So this report is actually for if you have a certificate that requires a seal. So let's say that you have to issue certificates that have a seal attached to it. You can use this report for that. So this is just, it does not send any communications out to a member. It is strictly for internal purposes. So you can come through and say, oh, okay, I sent it for this one and I can approve it. It's also for if you need to do a double check. A couple associations use this report for just reviewing to make sure that the document is attached as an actual certificate. So you can go through and just double check to make sure and then mark them as sent as well. So if I go to Betty for quiz and go to her transcript here, and I can see these different reports. So I can just double check them by downloading them and reviewing them as needed. This report here is the same report that they see in the member portal. Now there's two buttons here that you will not see. These are in beta testing. So if you do need help with adjusting collection periods, let us know. We have the ability to do that. These are not released yet for public use, but because I'm a super user, they appear. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of if you don't see those buttons and you're like, why? It's because they aren't available yet. All right, so there we go. We've done activities. We've done adding them. You've done transcripts. So let's go back to our slides and go through a couple of best practices. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is, oh, sorry, no. Before we leave, reports. There's a couple reports I always love to point out. These are actually my favorite part is the continuing education credit report. So this is if you are manually sending out certificates. This is where you can then send them, resend them, or send out reminders. So it shows you the collection period, the amount of credits that they have earned, and how many they need to earn. So if they are not meeting, you can send out that reminder email. Again, you can adjust with the wording and have it go out to them. You can also find people with the different collection periods based off of membership status or type. And you can send certificates to everybody within the list or emails with everybody within the list based off of your criteria. You can also just search by name as well if needed or what condition that they are in. So things, I love this report because it gives you a really good understanding of where your member is collection periods versus how many credits they've earned is. You can always export it if you need to as well to provide a report for anyone else with that in your team. The second report that is kind of cool is the activity report. So you can see how many people have completed how many activities. If you click on the activity name, it actually shows you who has completed those activities specifically and when. So those two reports were just added last year, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. Again, this one's by far my favorite, one that I always reference when we're doing importing. So we can import collection periods and activities, and then the user activities. So those are things like if you have about 10 activities that you want imported, there is an import sheet that you can use to do that. We can help you with that at any time. Okay, sorry, back to best practices. So best practices is, number one is keep it simple. Mold your accreditations and program within the system, even if it's not our system, any system that you're using, make sure that what you're asking from your members aligns with what the system is capable of doing. I like to use levels to make sure that you're encouraging members to do a variety of activities instead of everyone just doing webinars. It's going to allow you to spread it out to how they have to do an in-person, they have to do a test, they have to do a quiz, they have to do a webinar, they have to do an online course. So making sure they get a variety is really great. So levels are fantastic for that. And then finally, the last best practice is make sure that your collection period aligns with your membership. If you have an annual membership, you want an annual collection period. If you have an anniversary membership, you want an anniversary collection period. It just makes it very simple to track and a lot easier for your members to track as well. All right. My favorite part is questions. So I did see that somebody asked me to zoom in, so I hope that was okay for everybody else. So how about giving the option to edit activities to members every time they need to edit, they can make an increasing our work. So that's actually the first time I've been asked that, allowing them to edit their own activities. Most administrators want a little bit more control over it to ensure that they are doing the right credits. But great suggestion. I definitely will add that to our suggestion board. It's not something that we can currently do right now, but it's not a horrible idea. So thank you for that. If the report activities after their collection period completed before, will it still adding the past collection period? So if I complete an activity during my collection period, but I haven't reported it, I can report it after the fact. But when I report it and I say I did it on December 3rd and it's within that collection period, it's going to automatically be added to that collection period. If I say that I did it on January 1st of the next collection period, it won't add to that one. So it automatically adds to the collection period in which the activity is completed in. So when they're saying that, it tells them when to do that, or what collection period it's assigned to. Depends on the day that they say they completed the activity. If you upload files, videos, documents on the platform, and if so, what is the file size? So sorry, for this one, are you talking like in general or just for the activities? Little bit of context for that one. For the activities, it's strictly just adding like a document, like a PDF or image of the platform. We can't upload videos. For like the general, depends on the size. I actually can't remember the top of my head what the max size is, but you can't upload videos. You can only do links or do embedding of videos in a code area. We can't upload videos into our system. If you change the type of collection period from anniversary to annual, will it mess up the current members collection period? If you are changing the current collection period, it from anniversary to annual, so they're going to be in. That is a really good question. If you're changing it, you want to change it around the end. You don't want to do it in the middle. You want to do it near the end of that collection period for all your members. Like some might have a different grace period or collection period, but once they've done that, the new collection period will come into effect. That's sometimes normally when you have, yeah, you'd want to update it right before the next renewal cycle for that. And we might want to have like a kind of a one-on-one for that, to discuss what you're if you're switching from anniversary to annual. You want to align it also with your annual membership. So that might be, we might want to do like a mass update and putting everyone in the same collection period if you're doing that. So there would be an import update needed to be required if you're switching from anniversary to annual. So yeah, it would affect their current. It would affect their current. You'd have to make the update by importing and updating the collection period. So yeah, Steph, if you want further help with that, let me know. Is there a limit on the number of members you can have on Member365? So your limitation for members, no, it's contacts. So we have the number of members that can be in the system depends on your package or contacts. So everybody that has an email in the system is technically a contact in the database. If you have 500 or 5,000 members and 5,000 contacts, that's 10,000. And you need to have a package that will allow you to have 10,000 contacts in the database. For training courses, so uploading files. So there is a file upload for training courses, but again, you can't do videos. Videos they can't upload. They can add a link. If you add an area for them to upload a link in like in a form, but they can't upload a video, just documents. can be uploaded or images. Can you upload the PowerPoint with the video on it? Yeah, I can add the PowerPoint as well if you like with the video. That's actually not a problem. Any other questions? So thank you all for the great questions that you've asked today. Any other questions that maybe kind of arise when I was answering these ones? No? Okay, if something comes to mind after the fact, don't hesitate to reach out. You can always submit a ticket. This will be in the instructional videos, as well as the knowledge base. And we also have, if you have premium support and want to book a call, don't hesitate to do that or come and see us on chat. But again, thank you all for joining us. Thanks for the great questions. I hope this was helpful, and we will see you next time.